This is KGW News at Sunrise.
This is a city-wide problem. It's a tragedy that it's gotten this bad.
The Portland City Commissioner there talking about deteriorating conditions in Old Town. Citizens are pleading for help. There's no quick fix for the crime and the trash, but coming up this morning on Sunrise, a couple things the city is planning to do.
And as Salem Hospital staff were stretched to the brink at the height of the Delta variant surge, the Oregon National Guard came in and provided some crucial relief. But now that hospitalizations are going down, healthcare workers are now preparing for life without the support.
And a little later this half hour, we're going for a ride along the Willamette River. We've talked about this before in the show, the Frog Ferry that's coming to downtown Portland. So we hopped on board for a test run to show you what the ride will look like. There will be sunnier days, by the way.
I'll wait for the summer.
Absolutely. Super cloudy, super rainy yesterday, and this morning, super foggy, at least in some places. Good morning, everyone. Who is kind of socked in?
The worst of the fog starts about Wilsonville and goes down to Salem. Here's our visibility map. Weather Service has popped up a dense fog advisory through about 11 this morning for this. Now, so far, Portland has not had the fog issue. Troutdale was foggy. Now at the airport along the Columbia saying no. McMinnville's got a quarter of a mile visibility. So just know that even if you're not foggy right now, you may become foggy. And that brings me to the bus stop. So in Portland, we'll say foggy areas. In the city, it's another mild start, 50 degrees. Looking for sunshine to develop that would get us up to about 63 by the time kids get out of school. But you folks in Salem, and better chance of being foggy, 44, much different than Portland. You could still be cloudy in 40s at noon, much different than Portland. Do you get sun today? Maybe only 53 when the kids get out of school. That's your bus stop.
Thank you, Rod. Well, for weeks now, we've been reporting on the growing frustration in Old Town over crime and trash and public camping. There's a lot. It's especially troubling for cultural organizations like the Lansu Chinese Garden.
Yeah, those organizations wanted to meet with leaders to figure out the best ways to address these problems. And last night, they had that opportunity with one of Portland's city commissioners. Catherine Cook has the story.
Inside the gates of the Lansu Chinese Garden, thousands of people seek tranquility, a brief respite from the grind. But look just outside the gates. Those who run the garden say what's happening here is jeopardizing all of it.
I have had staff in the last week assaulted. I have had staff in their cars chased with people chasing after them with metal pipes. We had somebody die on the streets right next to Lansu.
Elizabeth Nye is executive director at Lansu. She says they've hired private security to police the area, and nonprofits have agreed to clean the sidewalks. Jobs Nye believes the city should be doing.
This is a city-wide problem. It's a tragedy that it's gotten this bad.
Portland City Commissioner Mingus Mapps is responding to Lansu's plight. On Thursday, Mapps met with Nye and directors of 3 other cultural institutions in Old Town. The meeting was in response to a joint letter the director sent to Mapps and other city and county leaders asking for help.
I will have succeeded in helping them when I actually change the reality on the ground. When I get that trash picked up, when I get people who are currently sleeping on the streets and in need of mental health care inside in shelter and connected to mental health service providers.
Mapps says his office has already asked police to increase patrols in Old Town. He's also looking ahead to the city's fall bump to ask for some public safety reforms, including hiring more police officers.
And we literally do not have enough police officers to respond to all the 911 calls that we have. Right now, we're losing about 12 officers a month to retirement or going to some other bureau.
Mapps says he'll also push to expand the police bureau's behavioral health unit and supports expanding Portland street response. After their meeting, Nye from Lansu told KGW that the group appreciates Mapps' prompt response and specific ideas. However, she said, we are concerned that many of these initiatives, which are connected to the fall bump budgeting process, still means that Old Town will need to wait until March 22nd at the soonest for many of these to begin. To that end, Nye noted this problem is older than this year and says it's discouraging that it took this letter to start seeing action. 2 other city commissioners responded to KGW regarding the letter. Commissioner Dan Ryan said in part, Old Town needs our support now more than ever. No employee, resident, or tourist should fear for their physical or emotional safety because of where they work, live, and play. Commissioner Carmen Rubio said in part, I want to acknowledge the deep concerns I've heard when talking with some of these organizations and community leaders. Significant planning and engagement is happening as we speak to take necessary steps forward on these issues in the coming weeks. Mapps, who took office in January, says he looks at Old Town on a citywide scale as he tries to make a difference for the future.
We have not been served well by pretending like it doesn't exist.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All were bystanders caught up in this historic level of violence that we're seeing here in our shared community right now.
The FBI is now offering a substantial reward for information about a mass shooting in Portland this summer. Federal agents hope $25,000 will encourage someone to speak up about the unsolved murder of Michaela Harris. The 18-year-old graduate of Grant High School was shot and killed back on July 17th. 6 others were hurt in the early morning shooting near Southwest 3rd and Oak downtown. The FBI says gang members appear to be responsible. During a press conference, the special agent in charge read a statement for the family.
This is the day that took my daughter's innocence away. Her life was violated when she was only doing what many young people do, hang out with friends.
So far this year, there have been more than 925 shootings in Portland. That's up from 388 just 2 years ago. Anyone with information about the shooting that killed Michaela Harris or has video before, during, or after is urged to contact the FBI or Portland Police.
Now to the latest on coronavirus, because the number of people in the hospital with COVID in Oregon is down 50% from the high point in early September. And with that, the Oregon National Guard is beginning to pull out of hospitals that they rushed to help. Salem Hospital had as many as 167 service members helping in a variety of jobs. Some screened visitors at the front doors, others delivered food to patient rooms, and some folded sheets and made sure nurses had what they needed. The chief nursing officer at the hospital said the troops have been a huge help.
So having the National Guard here has just been instrumental in terms of our morale. They've offered a sense of protection. They've helped us navigate this crisis. It's been just quite frankly overwhelming for all of us.
Across Oregon, 1,300 Guard members helped out at 50 hospitals. By Monday, the Guard will cut that number by 25% and then by another 25% at the end of the month. Nearly all troops will be out of hospitals by mid-November.
In Washington, Governor Jay Inslee says the deadline for state workers to get the COVID vaccine will not be extended. So state employees, healthcare workers, teachers, firefighters, they all need to be vaccinated by this Monday. Inslee says more than 90% of state employees are vaccinated at this point, but there's still about 5,000 employees who need to provide proof of vaccination.
And has continued to go up every single day. This is extremely gratifying. It is gratifying because we now know there will not be a mass exodus of state employees, and we will be able to continue essential state services for the people of the state of Washington.
Also, during that news conference, Governor Inslee issued a new statewide vaccine requirement for large events. So starting November 15th, everyone 12 and older will need to show proof of vaccination to attend any indoor event with more than 1,000 people. The other option is to show proof of a negative COVID test taken within 72 hours of the event. And Governor Inslee also issued the same requirement for outdoor events in Washington with at least 10,000 people.
Today, a panel of FDA advisors will discuss booster shots of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. This comes just a day after the panel voted to recommend boosters for Moderna. The recommendation is for a lower dose shot for seniors and other high-risk groups. Final decisions on whether the shots will be distributed will happen next week.
A group of passengers got to experience a new ferry service on the Willamette River. The Frog Ferry started in North Portland at Cathedral Park, and it sailed downtown at 22 knots. That's the same speed the ferries will travel when the service is up and running. The trip took about 25 minutes one way.
We just know foundationally that a strong community really needs a strong transportation infrastructure program. And we want to get people out on the rivers and really fully appreciating really the magic and the benefit of being a river city.
Now, this boat isn't the actual ferry that's going to be used. The point was just to demonstrate what the route will look like. Operators say the Frog Ferry will launch in the spring of 2023. It was windy, it was wet. Yeah. Rod, everybody had their rain gear on yesterday.
We are told by the folks with the Frog Ferry they will be operating on sunny, warm days as well. It was in the mid-50s yesterday. The warm front just kind of took its time nudging through. And as you know by now, if you live in Portland, the light rain never really gave up much until late in the day. Here we are right now. That same rain pattern has lifted up to our north. The southern end of what could be more clouds and sun today is going to be hanging right around Astoria, Long Beach, Kelso, up into Castle Rock. Futurecast shows the clouds up here somewhere at noon, but likes the rest of us getting some developing sunshine. I should point out this particular forecast model is not picking up on the areas of dense fog that we have out there right now, and some of those foggy areas could be lingering. Here we are for your weekend real quick. A dry day tomorrow inland. There's at least a chance of some thicker clouds bringing a touch of light rain tomorrow at the coast, but overall, I think odds favor the beach looking pretty good tomorrow. Maybe cloudy more than not, but generally staying dry. This is tomorrow at 5:30. Then we'll jump into early Sunday morning. Remember, we have the cold front coming in during the morning. Could be dry early, especially in the I-5 corridor in the Willamette Valley in Southwest Washington. This shows at 5 a.m. the rain just starting to get to the coast itself. All right, right now, Portland, mild 50. Chilly 45 and foggy down in Salem. So quite a difference as you drop south. Eugene's at 41. Clear skies east of the Cascades, or I should say mainly clear skies. 32 in Bend, 21 out in Burns right now, so that's cold. So this forecast model, if you will, assumes that we're going to get a lot of sun in Salem and bumps you up to 68, but it's a dead calm wind pattern. And if the fog holds or struggles to clear, you folks may stay in the 50s today. Battleground, Longview up into the 60s, pretty good confidence. There will be some sun, some cloudiness up in Cowlitz County. 65 today for Portland, 68 tomorrow. A nice Saturday. The rain we talked about on Sunday might only be as little as a 10th or 15/100ths of an inch, and then a dry start into next week. That's my forecast.
All right, Rodney, we'll have more from you coming up here in just a moment, of course. But coming up next on Sunrise, it's a safe space designed to help create and heal. We're going to tell you all about this local art collective that's offering a second chance for artists with troubled pasts. But first, did you know statistics show women are more likely than men to get injured during car crashes? Our Verify team looked into why that might be. We'll have that report for you right after this quick break.